Thank you, Trade Hub. Appreciate that. Really do appreciate that, Trade Hub. I had my mic muted and my button was covered actually. Normally that flashes my face telling me it's muted. I had my mic muted. Oh my gosh, thank you. I didn't go through this whole video. My button was covered actually. Normally that flashes
Oh man, I appreciate that.
I had my mic muted. Oh my gosh, thank you. I didn't go through this whole video. My button was covered actually.
All right, so let me start over. Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming at you with a fairly long video. This video is going to be an explanation of what Star Citizen is, in depth, and it's going to be a fairly long video. I'm going to try to touch on all the different things that Star Citizen is, so that if you're new to the game, or if you've just been away from the game, you'll have a better understanding of what to expect in Star Citizen. Also, I'm trying to just find a pretty good spot to make a good camera shot. And I think also this might be it, because I'm not going to fly or do anything like that. I'm just going to park and let it look, and you can just see. I'm going to take my hands off the controls, basically. I'm not going to fly or do anything like that. I'm just going to park and let it look, and you can just see. Take my hands off the controls. Boom, and then we're going to have a pretty good view of the space station. There it is. That's all I wanted to do. All right. Pretty good. All right. So let me start off by saying that this game is it's an MMO RPG. All right. So if you're not familiar with what an MMO is, it's basically all an MMO is a multiplayer game where it's basically all an MMO. Why is it MMO? It's massive multiplayer online game, right? So you got, when they say massive, what's your definition of massive? You know, over 1,000 people playing at the same time? 12 people playing? Is that massive? 24 people? What is your definition of massive? Well, this game has created a lot of hype, a lot of anticipation. People are waiting for this game to come out. Well, this game has created. They are the largest crowdfunded game of all time. Let me back up. They're the largest crowdfunded anything project of any kind of all time. They're actually in the Guinness Book of World Records. You have they've made somewhere near $160 million. By the time this video is up, I'm sure they've already hit $160 million. That's really not. You think, wow, that's a crazy amount of money. $160 million. They should be able to build the world. No, $160 million. When you're talking about a corporation that has to deal with hardware, finances, legal, production, who knows what, advertising, anything. $160 million is really not that much cash. When you look at a game like Destiny, I think it was Destiny 1, I think that game took $500 million to create. So when you look at the $160 million and you look at what Star Citizen is going to be, which I'll explain in a minute, you'll be like, wow, $160 million. They've done a lot with what they've had. Yeah, I'm going to explain that. Now, okay, well, back to the I've got a little chart over here that of some topics that I wanted to hit, because I didn't want to forget this. But this video is going to go on for about an hour. I'm probably going to do a little bit of rambling as well, and I'm sorry about that. Because I didn't want to forget this. But this video is I'm also going to drink a little bit of hot chocolate. A little bit of rambling as well, and I'm sorry about that. Because I was thirsty. All right. So it's an MMO, and then we get into the second part of it, RPG. What does that mean? Role-playing game. Because I was thirsty. Okay, so this game, so it's an MMO, is get into the second part of it. Classified. It's been classified this since day one, a role-playing game. So you will play the role of a character in this game. You will, just like any other MMO you played, World of Warcraft, in this game, you will Star Trek Online, Lord of the Rings Online, Warhammer Online, Champions Online, whatever you played, you play a role of a character. And that character goes about usually taking missions, going on quests, getting experience points and treasure and loot and possibly crafting and then building up your character and things like that. Well, this one is going to be a little bit different than that, and I'll get on that in a minute too. But it's an MMO in the fact that it's a massive multiplayer game. It's an RPG in the fact that you have a character that you play throughout the campaign, throughout the game, throughout the online experience. But that's as far as it goes, as it ties in with other MMOs. You will find mission givers. They don't call them quest givers, they call them mission givers. You'll find these. They will ask you to do certain jobs or tasks. You will do those tasks, and you will develop reputation as well as money, but not so much skills, and I'll get into that. Okay, so the next thing is, the game is done in first person. It's a first-person game where you play the game inside your character. So when you look down and see your gun, that's what you do. You look down and see your gun. When you look at your dashboard, that's what you see. When you look out your ship, that's what you see. You see the heads-up display that's in your helmet. If you've got a mobi-glass on your wrist, you bring it up and you see this as if you were the person. It's not like Mass Effect where you're looking over the shoulder of your character and you're running around and you got a crosshair and you shoot and you jump and hide behind walls and things like that. No, this is an in your person, so it's a first person as opposed to a third person. Wouldn't that be second person? Whatever happened to second person? Yeah, first person and third person. We're second. Okay, sorry. Okay. Now you know you're going to be inside your character, and you're not going to be outside your character. Are there going to be cameras that you can go outside your character and look at your character? Absolutely. They're not going to be outside your character. Spend all this time and effort making your character look as great as it does, and then not let you look at it. So yes, you will have a camera that can go around, pan around your guy, and take a look. Absolutely. That's what I'm doing right now, actually. I'm in a ship. So yes, I've got the camera outside my ship. So and then I moved the camera up above my ship so you wouldn't see my ship, and it's looking at the station, which is Port Olisar. Right now in patch 2.63, this is where everyone spawns. When you log in, this is where you start off. Unless you're a criminal and got bad reputation, then you spawn at Grim Hex. But this is where everyone spawns. Yeah, so it's very limited right now. But we're talking about Star Citizen as a whole. At the end, when the project is complete, what you can expect. What is it going to be? Well, it's going to be a PvP game as well as a PvE game. When I say that, it's going to be player versus player and player versus environment. So when a mission is given, you might be tasked to go pick up the box and stop anyone else from picking up the box. And then someone else might be given that very same mission. So you got you and this other person going to get this box, just using that as an example, and he's trying to get it, you're trying to get it, and so now there's a direct conflict between players, and that's player versus player, so you got to shoot at each other to get this box. Just using that as a lame example, but that's what it is. You might be given a mission to capture the princess, and then another group might be given a mission to rescue the princess. And so what that does is it causes direct player interaction conflict. You are doing it because of your morals, your mission, your agenda, and all that. That's great. So boom, it's the game creating conflict between players. It wants to do that. It will do that. Will there be times? So boom, more often than not, you are going to be given a mission to go rescue that princess, but that princess has been captured by AI. So the environment. So there'll be a band of pirates holding the princess, and you'll fly in, blow up these pirates or whatever, and you'll rescue the princess, and you would never had any interaction with the player. Another player might be given the mission to rescue the princess as well, and that's going to give you an opportunity to co-op or team up against another faction, AI or player-driven. So there's going to be dynamic ways for the computer game itself to create missions that you think is just a mission, but in fact it's the game creating player versus player or player cooperative with players just to drive story and just to drive the excitement and everything else. Okay, because players tend to be a little bit more complicated thinkers, and so players tend to have more you don't know what to expect when you're trying to rescue the princess or whatever. Okay, so but it's going to be both of that. You're going to not just that, but there's going to be player versus player interaction. Like I could see a guy flying cargo from point A to point B because that's his mission to carry. But I don't have a mission to take him out, but I just voluntarily make up my own mission and I go take him out and get the cargo. So that is allowed. So that's PvP is acceptable in that situation. Now there will be player pirates, and then there will be AI pirates as well. So you are flying from point A to point B with this valuable cargo, and then there will be AI jump you. And that gives you with the game and your fellow players the opportunity to bring escorts with you to defend you against those pirates, player or AI, doesn't matter, but you've cooperated with another player to accomplish some goal. And then hopefully your agreement with him is once he gets that cargo to destination, he pays you some credits, everybody goes their happy way, right? Okay. So there will be both player versus player and player versus environment everywhere. Now, will it be against the law to just blow somebody up? Of course. That's part of my consequences tab that we'll get to in a moment. Okay. Now, the game is based, as you can see on the screen, the game is going to be based in space. Okay. Think of it like 1,000 years from today, right? I know it's not exactly, but think of it like 1,000 years from today. In the future, we're not going to have flying saucers. It's not going to be the Starship Enterprise. It's going to be more like Firefly. You know, you're going to have bullets. You might have some lasers. You might have some plasma. Who knows? You're going to have missiles that fly. You're going to have chaff. You're going to have flares. Your ships are going to fly at normal, dogfighting speeds unless you go turn on a specific engine that lets you go 0.2 the speed of light or more or less. They haven't really decided exactly to get from planet to planet or moon to moon, and then to actually get from one solar system to another solar system. And then to actually get
okay, sorry. Let me see.
Solar system to another solar system.
Appreciate you sharing that with me. Let's see. What do I got? Let me see. Yep. My Twitch was still playing.
Okay. Yep. Appreciate that.
See, that's the community working with me. Appreciate you guys, man. Okay, there we go. Yep, I had my Twitch on. Sorry. Oh, and guess what I just did? I just covered my notes when I tabbed out. There they are. And there we're back. Okay, so we're on space 1,000 years in the future, right? It's supposed to be 900 and something. It's supposed to be 2947. So it's exactly 950 years or something like that. 960 years, whatever it is. But it's 2947. And the reason why they use the 47 is because they started this back in 42, right? Squadron 42. 42 is the answer to everything in the universe. But
it's supposed to be World War II, and they wanted to mirror it with the year 42, but then they kind of shot themselves in the foot by saying that, I mean, it doesn't really matter, really, but it's a World War II, and they wanted to mirror the years with the World War II years and stuff like that. But so we'll get into that in a minute. But Space 1,000 Years in the Future, it's not super far-fetched. It's very realistic sci-fi. And the way that we've been able to get from one planet to another, or not one planet, but one solar system to another, has been these jump gates or wormholes. We're going to, just like in Interstellar, we're going to find these points in space. They've already found hundreds of them, but we're going to find these points in space that when you enter it, it takes you on. You have to navigate this wormhole, kind of like Stargate. You know how the wormhole flies around, and then we're going to come out the other end in another solar system. And so basically, that's going to be loading screens or whatever. We're going to be flying to another solar system, and that's the only way you can get to a solar system. Sure, you can quantum, you'd run out of fuel, but you could just put your engines on go and point at a star and go. And would you be able to reach there? No, don't be realistic. That'll never happen. You'll never be able to go from one solar system to another without going through the wormholes. Now, can you go from one planet to another without quantum travel? Yes, it might take you a long time, to do that. But yeah, you could do it in one solar system because of the technology that Star Citizen has developed. They've been able to put an entire solar system in one instance, which is crazy just thinking about that. Okay, so that's Space 1,000 Years from now. You're gonna get guns, you're gonna get lasers, you're gonna get armor, you're gonna armored spacesuits basically. You're gonna have little thruster packs to fly around in space. You're gonna have your ships. You're gonna have to deal with atmosphere and there's all that. So what else would you expect 1,000 years from now? Well, you would expect maybe different types of medicine. Yes, there's going to be different types of medicine. You can. We'll get into permadeath in a minute. That's getting up pretty close. But if you get your arm blown off, a hospital would be able to reattach your arm, regrow you a new arm, or even attach a cybernetic arm to you. So we'll get into that in a minute. Okay, let's talk about the next thing. Realistic versus fantasy. It kind of falls in. When I wrote up all these bullet points, one fed into the next one. It was like, oh yeah, let's talk about this. Oh yeah, let's talk about that. And so I'm going down my list, and it probably, I'm like jumping ahead a little bit, and I'm trying to back myself up. But realistic versus fantasy. Okay, we have Chris Roberts wants the game to be very grounded in reality. So there's going to be G-forces on people. You're going to be able to bleed. You're going to bleed out. There's going to be different types of atmospheres. It'll affect you differently. There's going to be different types of pressure on you. There's going to be different types of gravity that's going to affect you. There's going to be a bullet will travel like a bullet does. A laser will travel like a laser does. It's not going to be blasters. It's not going to be disintegration rays. It's not going to be, you're not going to have Jedi with the Force. No, none of that. None of that fantasy stuff. Take all that away and get back to reality, but just pure sci-fi in the future. Right? That's what it is. And that reminds me a lot of a game called Traveler. But okay. So you have guns, you have swords, you're gonna have knives and axes and stuff like that, crossbows actually. And then there's going to be there will be aliens, but having an alien is not fantasy. That's just serious science fiction. There's going to be an alien out there. There's going to be multiple aliens out there, and I've got that down on my list, okay? But Will they have different capabilities and breathe different atmospheres and stuff like that? Absolutely. You know, okay. So don't expect there to be like magic or psionics or the Force. That's not going to happen. You're not going to have like lightsabers. Not going to happen. You know, you're not going to have warp power, you know, warp engines. Not going to happen. Okay? So don't think Star Trek, that's way out in the future, and don't think Star Wars, that's kind of goes towards the fantasy era. Okay. And then, okay, consequences is my next step. Consequences. Remember I talked about you could voluntarily just attack another player? Absolutely. You can do that. You could be that guy that charges forward and attacks a cargo ship to get his cargo. Very good. Okay. But if you do that and you're caught on camera, or your sensors are detected, or something reveals your presence or who you are, then you will be given a bad reputation. And that reputation will be basically attached to your character. So when you try to do things like if you go to a lawful planet that has your records of being a criminal, they might arrest you on sight, you know, or they might, you know, who knows, right? They might tell you, hey, you're kind of a shady background, so you're not allowed on this planet. Or, I'm sorry, I'm unable to sell you that ship that you're asking for because you're a criminal, right? And so by being a criminal, there will be consequences. Now, on the other side, if you're a good guy and you build up a reputation of being a guy that helps the innocents, he rescues that princess or whatever, and he's got a reputation of taking all the good jobs, then people that have a good job might seek you out and say, hey, can you help me with this? Because I need somebody that's skilled, you know, and I need this. And you will be approached for that. But then on the other hand, if there was a mission to go kidnap a princess, you would not be offered that mission because they would look at you as being a goody two-shoes or whatever, and you would not get that mission. So if you pretty much early on in your gaming experience have to decide which direction you want to go down. Do you want, and it's all voluntarily your choice, do you want to go down the bad reputation, or do you want to try to go up the good reputation? You know, and it might be hard to do both. I mean, if you build up a reputation of being a bad guy, it's possible that other bad guys are not going to want you in their home. You know, it's like this system's not big enough for the both of us. And they might hunt you down because they don't want you in this area because you're too good at your job or something. Who knows, right? Or they might seek you out and try to hire you or whatever. So you can expect multiple different mission branches and consequences and enticements to come from every different direction. And that's part of the mechanics of the game called subsumption. And further on down my line, I'll talk to you about subsumption. Okay, but there's more consequences. Let's say you get in a dogfight. You get a bad reputation, good reputation, doesn't matter. Your ship blows up. Boom, right? Before you eject. And you're basically technically considered killed. You didn't get to escape pod. You didn't eject. You didn't jump out the ship before it exploded. You just was on the ship when it exploded, and boom, your body's a million pieces. Okay, you're dead. You will respawn. You'll respawn at the last location that was capable of respawning you. Usually, that is the last planet that had a technologically superior hospital. That can be modified through combat medics and field doctors and hospital ships in your fleet and things like that, but that's not what we're talking about. But that is part of Star Citizen. You can do those things, but primarily you would respawn at the last planet you were on if it had a hospital. And then you would spawn in the hospital. Now what they're saying happened is the remaining pieces of your body was recovered and it was brought back to that hospital, and they used their superior technology to reconstruct your body. Now sometimes you can't reconstruct every piece of the body, so they'll attach a artificial limb, an artificial eye, a nose, a head, or whatever, right? And so you will have cybernetics. Now, what do we know about what those cybernetics are going to do for you? Nothing. We do not know anything about that yet. I believe, my speculation, my thing is, it will do nothing for you. It will only be cosmetic. It will only be a look thing. You'll look at it and say, oh man, that guy's got a cybernetic arm, so he's actually blown up or died once, or something like that. That guy's got a missing eye, he's got a patch over his eye or something. So hey, that guy's been killed once. Okay, so it would feed into your reputation as well, because as a player, let's say you go into a bar, and this is the example that they actually used on Wingman's Hangar way back in the day. They said if you are a player and you go into a bar and you're looking to hire a bunch of mercenaries to do this job for you, and you see these 4 guys sitting around a table and they all have cybernetic parts or scars on their body, then you know that they've been in a scrap. And so you know that they probably have some fighting experience, and you might want to go talk to them. And that's cool. That's awesome that I could visually look around the room and say, those guys I need to talk to, right? Without having a little icon floating above their head saying, hey, we're mission givers. No, I mean, we're hireable. We're ready to be hired. That won't happen. So this is just a way for you to kind of feel it out. Now, if you die a number of times because you keep dying, you die, because you are, let's say you're that pirate, or back up, let's say you're a griefer, and you just like to start fights with people. That's your thing. You just stay at a space station, watch people spawn ships, and then you use your sniper rifle and you shoot them, right? Well, you are probably going to get a reputation, be a public enemy. You're probably going to have people trying to kill you, or the players are just going to take out bounty on you. Okay, what's up with this Vanguard? He's coming up. Okay, and so they're going to try to kill you. Now, eventually you're going to be killed. And if you keep that up over and over and over, if you keep that up over and over and over, you are going to be killed. And killed and killed and killed and killed. Or if you're just minding your own business, taking your cargo from one point to another, and you keep taking the most dangerous routes, and these pirates keep blowing you up, then basically the same thing's happening to you. You're dying, you're dying, you're dying. After a number of deaths, you will not be allowed to respawn again. Your body has taken so much damage, it's not able to be repaired. You cannot respawn. This is something called permadeath. Okay, how many times will that happen to you is not a number you will know. This is a hidden number. Might be more for one person, it might be less for another. It's a random number attached to your character in the background on the servers, not the client. So there's no way for you to know. But once you hit that number, and I'm estimating it's going to be somewhere around 6. So when you die 6 times, you can't respawn. Your next character can inherit your property. They won't inherit 100% of it. I don't know what the inheritance tax is going to be. It'll be steep, like 25%. So if your main character had made 1 million credits, when he dies, your next character that spawns in now has 750,000 credits. It's pretty good. You didn't lose everything, and death isn't totally the end of the universe, but now you do have to kind of you did actually lose something. Okay, now, but you've lost more than that. Okay, let's say you decide, hey, I'm going to be the good guy. I'm going to respond to every distress call there ever was, and because I'm the best pilot in the universe, I can do this, right? So let's say some guy is out there being attacked by pirates, and he calls for assistance. He says, oh no, I'm being attacked by pirates. Anybody in the area, come help me, please. Okay, and so you say, I'm on it, right? And you fly out there to help this guy, and he's getting attacked by, let's say, 100 pirates, right? 100 of them. But one of them is, let's say, the Dread Pirate Roberts, right? Let's say he's the pirate that everybody's been after. He's got this huge bounty on his head, and you're like, oh crap, I see Dread Pirate Roberts here. I'm going to go for him. Okay. I'm with you now. Okay, follow me along. You kill him. It's an NPC. No big deal. You kill him, right? And then a few moments later, 30 minutes, whatever, your character dies because he just had 100 pirates attack him, kill him, and he can't respawn because that was your last life. Okay, imagine this scenario. In the Galactopedia, which is going to be on the Star Citizen website and on your MobiGlass, so every player that has ever played or ever will play Star Citizen can look in the Galactopedia and they can see Derek, I'm just going to use my own name, Derek killed the Dread Pirate Roberts. Oh, let's go find Derek and see what's up with him. Cannot be found. He's dead. So your character, the permadeath, would basically I'm not going to say take that honor away from you or that glory away from you but it will, because you can't make your second character can't be Derek, right? Your second character can be Derek 1, or it could be Derek 2 or whatever, but it's never going to be Derek. That one's enshrined in the Galactopedia completely, and you can take pride in saying, yeah, that was my character back 20 years ago when I was playing, when I first started, I didn't realize that permadeath was so serious, and all that. So there are consequences to dying. You lose your inheritance money. There's like a tax to your next of kin, and then there is the possibility that if you did anything famous, or if you did anything like discover a jump point or something like that, your heir doesn't have that, reputation. But they do get some of your reputation. So let's say you are the guy that kills Dread Pirate Roberts. You're the guy that comes into the game, your second character that comes into the game, will have something on his character saying he's the nephew, or he's the son, or the brother, or whatever it is, to the guy that killed Dread Pirate Roberts. So technically he's still there, but it's really just, you're basking in your father's light and not your own. If your father's a bad guy, let's say he's got a really bad reputation, he's the worst pirate, he's a mob leader or something like that, and then he dies, you come in, you're still going to be treated like scum. Even if you wanted to start over fresh, you're not going to be able to be, because you're the son of that scumbag. Okay, that's consequences. There's 120 plus systems in Star Citizen. Not all of them are Empire. There are, and there will be more. That's just 120 at start. And that was created through the Kickstarter / crowdfunding stretch goals. As the stretch goals went along, more and more systems were promised and described and explained. Now, if you go to the map the star map and you look, you can count, I think, all of them. I haven't actually tried going through and counting them all, but I think maybe like 70 or 80 of them are on the star map, maybe 90. But there will be 120 systems. What that tells us is there's going to be some systems out there that still need to be discovered, that we don't know anything about, or are on the other side of alien space that the Empire doesn't know about. Maybe they're like the capital world or Vandal space or the capital of Banu space or whatever, right? So maybe we only see the fringe of the aliens. We don't see deep into their empires. So those 120 systems that start are there. We probably just don't know anything about them. We just got to find them. Or there's the undiscovered systems that nobody knows about. And you might be that explorer that finds the jump point, a new jump point. You take it, you come to a system, boom, it's a new system you know nothing about. And now you got to fly to each planet, you got to scan each planet. Maybe you want to land, take some samples, check out some fauna and flora. It'd be super exciting, I think. And you can't communicate with anybody because nobody's in your system. And there's no communication buoys set up in the system. So maybe you'll have to fly back and then report the new discovered jump point path and how to fly it, and then maybe make some money as a discovery, or not sell it and give it to only your organization so your organization can fly there. The only reason why you might want to do that is maybe there's a lot of minerals and you want your organization to mine those minerals before anybody else does. Stuff like that. So that's definitely a possibility on the 120 systems. Also, with 120 systems, okay, just thinking outside the box, with 120 systems, even 100, I'm just going to make it even and say 100 systems. Every system's going to have multiple planets, okay, multiple planets. I think they stated that the average is going to be 4. So some will have 3, some will have 2, obviously. But some will have 6, some will have 7. I think one of them has 9. I think actually one of them has 12. So the average is like 4 planets per system. That's just an average. So we're looking at 400 planets, okay, approximately. And then some planets, not all of them, will have moons, okay. So let's just say some planets will have 3 moons or more, like Crusader, it's got 3 moons. So just imagine some planets have 0, some planets have 1 or 2 or 3. Let's just say that there's 1 planet per moon. So that's another 400 moons. So we're looking at like 800 planets and moons. That's a lot of places to go, to land on, to get out and walk around on. Because these planets are all going to be landable, except for maybe if there's poisonous atmospheres or something like that. Like a few of them will have like super hot atmospheres. It's so close to the sun that if you go into it, your ship will melt. Okay, so we'll take a few of those out. There's a few of them that got certain types of corrosive atmospheres that if you land on the planet, it'll fry all your hull and your sensors and all that. And then you won't be able to take off because your engines will be destroyed and stuff like that. So yeah, there's going to be a few of those. So let's say there's 100 of those. There's probably not going to be 100 of those. Let's just say there's 100 of them. That's still like 700 places to land and to get out and walk around. Are they all going to be populated? No. Are some of them going to be populated? Yes. Will some of them have multiple cities? Yeah. So imagine some of them having 2 or 3 cities. I'm well over 1,000. I'm probably over 2,000 specific places of interest to go to. Okay. So that's the 120 plus systems, moons, planets, asteroids, all that. That's just going to be amazing. Okay, now, not all of these planets are going to be occupied or inhabited. So a lot of them will be just barren rocks. Like a lot of the moons, they'll just be rocks. Some of the moons will be populated. Like the moon of Endor, wasn't it? Or not the moon of Endor, the moon of Yavin, like Yavin 4, right? Wasn't it like jungle? Absolutely. So there will be some moons out there that have plant life, animal life out there. There's going to be planets out there with plant life and animal life. There's going to be all kinds of things like that out there. So if I was to take just half of those, if less than half, if I just say like 300, let's say 300 planets or moons have life on them, you've got 300 different wildlife, animals, creatures, and then are they just going to be one animal on those planets? No, there's probably going to be 20 to 30 different types of animals, birds and fish and cattle and wolves and tigers and lions and bears, oh my, right? So all of them on these planets, you're going to have an enjoyable time just interacting with all these crazy, there might be even those giant spiders that were made on ATV. But yeah, or was it, it's not RTV anymore, what is it called, community one, whatever. So you're looking at maybe 300 or 400 types of animals out there that it's going to be like, or no, I take it back, 3,000 or 4,000 types of animals and plants and everything else. That's going to leave you like a lifetime worth of gameplay just trying to find them all. Not even taking missions, just going to all these planets, checking out everything that's on the planets. So it's going to be an explorers or just someone that likes doing that. They're going to have a lifetime worth of. You couldn't do it in 10 years, is what I'm trying to say. All right. So the next thing is there's also going to be asteroids that you can mine. Not just the planets. You don't have to land on a planet to get the minerals or the wood or the crystals or the gold or whatever. There's going to be asteroids floating that you can fly up with certain types of ships and mine those asteroids. And what is it going to be able to do? You're going to be able to sell the ore, or you're going to be able to process the ore, turn it into something else. So let's say you get some iron ore, you might be able to turn that into steel later down the road or something, right? Okay. Okay. Next thing I really wanted to talk about was Star Citizen is going to have the best AI from any game because of subsumption. The AIs have about 100 different personality quirk stat lines in them. So they tell them like how aggressive they are, how friendly they are, what kind of languages do they speak. Are they someone that likes to punch? Are they someone that likes to shoot? Are they someone that likes to use a knife? So all of those things, and each AI has their own characteristics. They also have like what do they do on a daily basis? Where do they live? When do they go to work? Is he sick today? Is he not sick today? Does he have today off? If today's his day off, does he go fishing or does he go shooting pool or what does he do? And every one of these little stats are in every single AI out there. So if you wanted to, and they're supposed to be, some people say 9 to 1, some people say 19 to 1, 20 to 1, 10 to 1. I think it's a I bet you I timed out because I didn't move. I'm on a black screen. Black screen of death. Okay. So we'll see what happened there. Let me tap just a second. Almost certainly timed out because I haven't moved. Yep, look at that. Unloading. Okay. So if you, see right there. Inactive. Okay, no problem. We'll go somewhere else. Right now, you don't see any AI in the system. You see a couple of them, they just stand around with their fingers up their butt. They don't do anything, right? But in the actual game, they will have personalities. They will have things that they want, things that they need, and then they might even hire you to get them some things they need. Like, what if he's a commodities broker and he wants to take cargo from point A to point B? He's going to hire you to do that because they're going to be they're going to seem real. That's what I'm trying to say. These AI are going to be outstanding. Let me get somewhere where I can be undisturbed. Now, subsumption implies assumption. So there's going to be a lot of, and subsumption means, dictionary definition is a subcategory of assumption. So the subsumption is going to assume certain parts of their philosophy or whatever. Whoa, I didn't want to go that way. Let's go this way. Maybe that was the direction I wanted to go, but that's okay. Stand right here. We'll look at the moon and the planet and the ships flying by and the skyscrapers. That looks good. Okay, so right now all of this is hand wavium. These ships flying by don't have anybody in them. They're all on a racetrack. They're just flying by. It's just artwork flying by. But when Star Citizen comes out, each one of those ships, if there are any ships flying by, will have an AI pilot, and that AI pilot will have a destination to go. And if you were the kind of stalker that I probably will be for a few days, I'll probably do this just to do it. I'm going to follow an AI around, and I'm going to watch him do his daily chores. I'm going to watch him go home, meet his family. I'm going to watch him go to the grocery store and buy stuff. I'm going to watch him do this as he goes around the entire universe. And imagine a 20-to-1 ratio of AIs to players. So I'll be able to do that to, millions of AI if I wanted to do that. But I'll just probably do it on one or two just to see what it's all about. Okay. Subsumption is also how the new missions are being generated. Because, let's say, remember those boxes that you had to go get? Well, you'll do that once, and then the next time you're not going to have the same mission. They said that the AIs, once you do it for that AI is satisfied. So he doesn't need you to go get his box again and again and again. And he's not going to ask the second player that walks up to him to go get the box because he's already got the box, right? He might ask him to go get a different box, or he might ask him to go, let's say you go get the box, but remember that other guy got a mission to stop people from getting that box. So maybe he stopped you from getting the box. So the next player that walks up, he's going to say, hey, I've got this difficult mission because there's people out there trying to stop people from getting this box. So take some friends with you. So everything will be dynamically adjusting and modifying and shifting to adapt to what is going on in the world, which that's mind-boggling all by itself. And I'm afraid Skynet's being invented right now. But once they get this taken care of, and we're able to get these missions that are just non-stop, everyone's different, that's a lifetime of gaming without ever doing the same mission twice. Or you might get similar missions. You might get a mission like, I've got some iron ore. Can you carry it from planet 1 to planet 2? Yes, I will. Come back. Hey, I got more iron ore. Can you take it from planet 1 to planet 2? I'm sure that's going to happen because planet 2 has a factory that needs iron, of course, and that we're a planet that creates iron. So I could see that happening. So as a merchant, you're going to be able to take those known routes, and you'll go to different planets and try to find which one's the most lucrative and find out where you get the most money out of them. So that's like a challenge for those guys that like to do merchanting too. They're not just going to take the first mission every time. They might, just because it's there, but once they find a really good one, they might stick to it, right? The pirates are going to know this, and they're going to want the AI pirates and the player pirates are going to say, this is the most lucrative route right here. This iron, we gotta steal it because this factory over here is paying top dollar for this iron, and we can deliver it, or whatever. But then when you do that, you get a bad reputation. It's stolen goods, and blah blah blah. That's a whole nother story. But that also is in there too. Okay, that's pretty much what some assumption. Now, something Star Citizen just announced that they're going to have. They didn't just announce it. Okay, they announced it back in 2014 that they were going to have FOIP, okay, a face over IP software, and they dropped it. Probably because it didn't match up with the technology direction they were going. And then when they finally decided to go to a certain specific type of technology, the face rigging and mapping and the way they're doing the shading and the blending and all that, it probably works better with this other company's face over IP software. And so now that they're getting them merged, everybody's saying, oh, this is something new. No, it's not something new. They promised this, or maybe not promised it, but they wanted to do it since 2013, 2014. It is going to go into the game. In CitizenCon, the majority of that presentation will be about FOIP. I hate to tell you this, guys, but a lot of you are saying, they didn't like Gamescom because it was all an advertisement. Well, guess what? CitizenCon is just a more in-depth view at that same thing. So stay on the edge of your seat for that one. But okay, so it's going to be where you can use your webcam and you can talk. I probably couldn't sit this far back and have it pick up my face. I would probably have to get, maybe not that close, but you know what I mean. You got to get close to the camera so that it can capture your face. And then when you talk and you smile and you do all this stuff, it shows up, your character does the same thing in game. I'm excited about that. I'm super excited about that. I'm definitely going to use that feature. Okay. I hope everyone else uses that feature. A lot of people are not going to use that feature because they don't care about it. That's fine. You don't have to care about it. I do. I think it's cool. Okay. And then there's the voice over IP, which I know a lot of people out there use Discord, TeamSpeak, Mumble, Skype, Hangouts, whatever they use, right? But that's because they don't want the game dictating who they can talk to, right? And I get that, because you don't want some other player jamming your radio signal and then the game saying your radio signal's jammed, and then but you don't care because you're using Discord, so you're talking to someone on Discord. You're never going to be able to get rid of that. Okay, that's never going to be able to be gotten rid of. There's going to be organizations out there that are super hyper competitive that are going to use Discord exclusively, and that's all they care about. Their characters in the game, their mouths will never move because they're not in the game for the RPG part of it. They're in the game for the griefing or the pirating, or I don't even know why they wouldn't. I don't know why you'd play a game that is an RPG if you're not into it for the RPGing. It just doesn't. I can't understand it. But okay, so you're in this game for that are hyper competitive, so they're going to use their Discord or their TeamSpeak or what have you, and that's okay. So what Star Citizen needs to do, what CIG needs to do, is make the VoIP worth using, right? They have to make it cool. They have to make it like, oh my gosh, I got to use it because it gives me this one ability that Discord doesn't give me, or I got to do this, or I got to do that. And one of the things is the VoIP, okay? They can do the render to texture, so you can actually, when you're in your cockpit, or if you're wandering the streets, you can pull up your mobiGlas, and you can actually video Skype. You can video call someone else in the game, and that's cool, right? So who needs Skype when you got VoIP, when you got render to texture? You can just do it in the game, free. Okay, and then okay, but you don't see your mug. You see your character's mug, but that's okay. Other things, speaking at it from an RPG angle, that's me. If I'm in a firefight, let's say, and I'm shooting around the corner, and I got my XO over here, and he's shooting around the corner, and I've got this team that I have planned to flank around a couple of buildings and come in the backside, and we're chatting over our helmet radios. You know, we're talking about, hey, are you there yet? No, we're not there yet. We're on our way. We're only a block away, or whatever, right? And so they're cruising around, and then our opponent puts up some kind of radio jammer, right? And now we can't communicate with each other using the radios, right? I think that's cool. I don't care if I'm the subject of the jamming. I think that's cool. I think that's exciting. That puts another level of challenge in my game that I have to overcome, that I'm excited about. I want those kinds of challenges. I don't want, well, let's just switch over to Discord and let's bypass the whole jamming thing, and now we can talk all we want and nobody's going to have any problem with it. No. I want the challenge. I know. I relish it. I want to be challenged. Okay? And so, but I understand that there's organizations out there that might be using Discord, so are we going to set up a jammer to block their communications? Maybe, maybe not. See, it kind of takes a little bit of my immersion away from me, because now I'm like, why bother using a jammer? They're just going to be on Discord. You know, that kind of stuff. But there's not just the radio communications, which that's the reason why Discord is going to rule over the radio communications, but the in-world, I can't remember the wording for it, but it's when your voice comes out of, I think it's called, not procedural, it's called, not place, when it comes around, I want to say dynamic, but that's not right. It's, the word I'm looking for is, don't worry about it, I'll just explain it. When I talk in the game, I'm talking to my webcam, the game projects whatever I'm saying out of my character's mouth. So what I could do is turn over to my XO and say, hey, our radios are being jammed. And guess what? He's still going to hear me because he's hearing me and not the radio. He's hearing the voice come out of my mouth. He might hear it a little further away. It might be a little muffled because I've got a helmet on or whatever, but he's going to be able to hear me. He's also going to be able to look at me, and I'm going to be able to give him some kind of hand signal that lets him know that our radios are being jammed. Okay, and he'll probably already know that anyway, because that's his real world. When he was in the military, that's what his job was in the real world. So he probably would know way before I did. But either way, and then we'll have to plan ahead of time to have maybe flares, or we'll see like an explosion or something to be the trigger for our attack or something like that. We'll have to plan ahead for those kind of things, and that's what I enjoy. I enjoy the preparation for the assault and the execution of the assault and everything like that. Not the putting the crosshair on the target and pulling the trigger. That's not what I enjoy. I enjoy all the stuff up ahead before that. I love the operational level of the assault, or whatever it is. And that's just me, though. And I'm going to dig that in Star Citizen because they're really putting that in there. But that's just in that attack. Let's say I'm in a bar. I don't have my equipment on. I've got a t-shirt and jeans on. And some guy is sitting next to me talking to his buddy. I'm going to be able to hear that conversation. I'm going to be able to walk up to them and say, hi, my name is Mr. Everything. How are you guys doing? And they will hear me because my voice will be in game. I do not have to know their Discord. I do not have to know their TeamSpeak address. I don't have to log into anything. I could just talk to them and they will hear me and they'll be able to respond to me if they use the VoIP. They can just turn around and say, "Oh, hey, Mr. Everything, what's going on, man? Have a seat. We're talking about the game last night," or whatever, And it will be like in-person communication. I'm super excited about that. One reason why, I could just see a guy walking by and he could be saying something like, "Hey, just waving and screaming, 'Hey, I'm an engineer. I'm looking for a job. Anybody around here know a captain that needs a job?'" And I could say to him, "Hey, we've got a job we need an engineer for," or whatever. And there's no need for us to log into Discord or bring up TeamSpeak or anything. We can just talk. Digging it. Okay, next thing, fidelity. You can already see a lot of the fidelity. When I talk about fidelity, what I talk about when I say fidelity is the little things, like the water reflections, or I walk up, the little scratches and nicks, and the little sticker that says lift, and I look at this orange security thing, what do you call it, safety thing, and I look and I see a little smudge right there. To me, that's fidelity. I come over here and we got these little warning tag signs, that you can read. I think that's fidelity. And look at that, the water reflections and all that. And then, look at the buildings and the fire and just the graphics level, the tire marks and these boxes, all of that. You don't see that level of fidelity graphics you see it in a few, but you don't see it in a lot of games, and then you don't see it in games that are going to be this massive. If it's going to be this massive, they sacrifice fidelity for playability, where Star Citizen wants to have fidelity and playability, and so malfunction, reboot, something. That just might be my graphics card not being able to pull that up or something. I don't know, but it's probably written in high def. But yeah, like the little steam vents and the signs, it's just amazing. And your characters have fidelity. Am I in the wrong button? I am in the wrong button. Whoop. Look at it. Okay, let's do this. Look at the fabric of my t-shirt. Go up a little bit. Look at my mouth. Look, I got a little dimple right there in my little blemish. Look at the eyes. Okay, maybe I'm getting a little too close. Okay, hang on. Yeah, look at that. The eyebrows. Whoa. Trying to move the camera. Not up and down. Forward. Look at the eyeballs. Sorry. I was trying to be in my head. Okay, but either way, look at the gloss on the eye. And look at the whole eyeball's modeled. Okay, maybe that's a little too close. It's kind of getting disgusting. Okay. Look at that. Okay, sorry. That's what I mean by fidelity. You're not going to get that kind of fidelity in any other game out there. I don't care what game it is. You can look at some of and this is still alpha. This isn't even a finished character. That's the generic clone character that everybody plays. When we start playing with the female models and the character creation, and we're able to change out our eyes and our nose and our mouth and all that stuff, it's going to look, well, it's not going to look great initially, but by the end, it's going to be insanely high resolution graphics, and I'm not optimized yet, still a little laggy from here and there. I'm at 59 frames per second right now, 57, but yeah, Fidelity. You're not going to see that. Star Citizen is Fidelity. Okay, next thing. Aliens. I kind of briefly went over it earlier, but there's the Empire in the center of the known space, and then surrounding the Empire are a number of aliens. One of them is Vanduul. One of them is the Banu and the Xi'an, and those are the main aliens that surround the Empire. And then inside the Empire, there's an alien race called the Tavaran, which the Empire has smacked down twice and basically made them their citizens. So now the Empire has Tavarans in their empire as part of a unified citizenry. And understand that this universe is based on the Roman era, the Roman Empire, the rise of the Roman Empire. So you have a Senate. The different planets have senators. They go to the then there's an Imperator. He runs the forums and all that. Okay, so inside this empire, we've got these alien races that surround them, and those alien races represent a culture from the Roman Empire. Like the Vanduul are, guess what? The Vandals. They're the ones that attacked from the north and were like tribesmen and stuff like that attacked, and they weren't all unified. They were kind of separated tribes. And then the Banu are representing like the Greek merchants and the Greek city-states, the ones that, because the Banu are all different city-states, but they love to trade with each other and with other cultures. And the Xi'an are supposed to be more, I'm going to say Hungarian, but they are further east, like not Genghis Khan, but more like I'm not going to say China, because I know Xi'an sounds very Chinese, but I don't think they're Chinese. I think they're Mongolian kind of time area. But either way, it's all around the ancient period. But that's not the only races out there. There's also, and I'm thinking of the Tavaran. Let's back up. I think the Tavaran are more like the Carthaginians, or maybe even just the Italians, because the Romans and the Italians were not the same. Okay, and then there is, on the other side of the Xi'an, is this race called the Kurthak, and those we don't know about yet. And then there's another race, maybe not, I can't remember. Maybe not. Maybe that's where it's at. But the Vanduul is the big enemy, the threat. It's the one that attacks the Empire, and you in Squadron 42, which we'll talk about next, is the game where you actually go and fight the Vanduul and a bunch of pirates and stuff like that. Okay, so there's aliens. Do they are they super high technology compared to the Empire? No, they're really on the same level. They might have this better and we might have this better. And they might have this better or worse and we might have this worse or something. But it's all pretty close to the same technology levels. Okay, Star Citizen is not just Star Citizen. Star Citizen is also a game called Squadron 42. Squadron 42 is the single-player experience where you, a lot like Call of Duty or some of these other single-player military campaigns that you played, where you play a character that goes from mission to mission to mission to mission. Is kind of on rails. You kind of have to do the next mission after this mission, after the next mission, after the next mission. And that's what Squadron 42 is. Squadron 42 has all the paid actors in it, like Mark Hamill and John Rhys Davies, Gillian Anderson, and others. And they're all motion captured and voice captured and facial capture and everything. So Squadron 42 is going to be this super big production. Squadron 42 is like 10 times bigger than a movie. It's got a script that's like this big, where a movie might have a script that only a few hundred pages. This thing's like a few thousand pages. It's just huge compared. Okay, so that's Squadron 42. And then when you leave Squadron 42, or you don't have to play Squadron 42, but if you do play Squadron 42, then your character in the MMO, which is called Star Citizen, will have the reputation and the achievements that your character in Squadron 42 had. So let's say you play Squadron 42 from the start to finish, then you go into the MMO. Now your character is like prior service, he's the savior of the universe, he's got medals from going to these different planets and doing these things. And if you were a good pilot, everybody will say, hey man, you're a good pilot. If you were a bad pilot, everybody will say, hey man, you're a bad pilot. So that's kind of, they're tied in, but they are separate. And when you go to buy Star Citizen and Squadron 42, they are both games. You have to buy the MMO or you have to buy the Squadron 42, but currently, if you back the game, you can back Star Citizen for a big discount, like 30% off, and then get Squadron 42 for only another 30%. So for a total of like $65, you get both Squadron 42 and Star Citizen, or you can pay like $45 for one or the other. When the games actually get released back, in the near future, like 2020 or whenever the game is actually released, they'll both be about $65. So you're actually getting 2 for 1 now if you buy them with it, like that. But you don't have to buy Squadron 42 if that's not something you're excited about. If you're only excited about Star Citizen, just get that and drop the Squadron 42. But I would say get Squadron 42 because it's going to be like your tutorial on how to play Star Citizen. So I would do it. Okay, now I only have 2 more things on my list, believe it or not. One of them is player skill. I know this video has gone on a long time, and I expected it to. So so that's okay. No player skill. So your character has no skill stats, no levels, no experience points. You don't like go on a mission, kill 15 rattlesnakes, and they say, hey, you leveled up, and you get more skill points in, shooting your pistol. No, it doesn't do any of that. You as a player, you have to aim your pistol. You have to pull the trigger. Do you get levels? No, that's total. Do you get levels in real life? No. So I have mixed feelings about this because it's a game, and players want acknowledgement of success, or they want what's the word I'm looking for? They want rewards for accomplishing good tasks and deeds. You get those. They're just not called experience points. They're not called levels. They're not called skills. They're more like achievements, and you'll get money, or you'll get prizes or gifts, like, hey, I'll give you a ship if you do this, that kind of stuff. It's not going to be, hey, you leveled up, you get a 5% bonus to hit with this. No, because it's not a game that you click on your target and cycle through your buttons. You don't go, hey, I do fireball, I do heal, I do smacking slap, I don't do kicking the nuts. No, I don't do those. All I do is whatever I got. Like if I've got a gun, I pull the gun out, I shoot it like a first-person shooter. Okay, so I know there are some first-person shooters that give you like a bonus to hit and stuff. I don't really see how that's relative if you have to aim. Now, stamina and health, I can see that being modified. I can see you maybe taking some high-tech combat drugs that gives you like a heightened sense of your worth or whatever. So maybe you can see farther. Maybe you get maybe your reflexes are a little bit faster or something like that. I don't know how they can work it in the game, because my reflexes is basically going to be how fast I can move my mouse and point it at something. So I don't know. Maybe I can resist some G-forces in a ship, like I take some drug that prevents me from passing out when I take high Gs. Okay, I can see all that kind of stuff. But I cannot see, I don't need to know hit points. I don't need to know, I get a +5 with my Holy Avenger or anything like that. Okay, and then you have AI. AI, because they're not controlled by players, they're controlled by the computer. The computer needs to know how skilled they are. So they do have stats. They do have a chance to hit. They do have a chance to be scared or run away or charge forward or panic or go berserk and things like that. Remember those 100 stats that I said every AI has? Well, some of them are combat related. Some of them are skill related. So like if you hire this NPC engineer and he's supposed to fix your engine that's on fire, but he's only got a skill level of 1, maybe he's not doing a good job. But maybe you've got another engineer that's over here that's got a skill level of 5. He walks up and pulls the lever, and everything stops burning, or something. So, yes, certain AI will have different levels of abilities, and the more you keep an AI on your ship, the higher his abilities will go. So he will learn from mistakes, Skynet, and then, but if you want to just pay the money up front, you can get a guy that's already got the high skill. They say that players will always be better than AI. I don't know if that's true. We'll have to find that out for fact. Because if I hire like a crew of super high skilled AI, they might be better than my friends that don't play but once a month. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Okay. So last thing I want to talk about is why to play Star Citizen. This is the end. I did the what is Star Citizen, but why would you want to play Star Citizen? I don't get to level. I don't, it's make your own story. You decide, and you have the ability to decide what you want to do in the game. So you want to be a pirate? Be a pirate. You want to be a policeman? Be a policeman. You want to be a Marine? Be a Marine. You want to be the guy that jams radio signals? Be that guy. You want to be an engineer on a ship? Do that. You want to be a merchant? Do that. So you can do, there's no classes. So you say, well, when I make my character, I have to pick a fighter. No. When I make my character, I have to be a warlock. No. You could be anything you can imagine or that you want to do. And that is why you play Star Citizen. If you are hired to do a rescue mission, rescue the princess, and you go and you do it, maybe the princess says, hey, I need you to go over here and do this thing, and you do it. And now you starting to get a good reputation for being this guy that is good with fighting or whatever. But then somebody says, hey, I need an engineer on this ship. Can you come and help me? And you say yes. Guess what? You just became an engineer. So you're not restricted on what you can do or how you can do it. It's just your imagination. And then the story that you tell and the friends that are listening to your story. And so the story's all inside here. It's inside, right? And you're using this game as a tool to tell yourself the story, basically. There's no need to worry or there's no need to grind because there's no levels you have to get. You don't have to get those 12 rattlesnakes to get that 15 experience points to make to the next level. You don't need, but now there might be grinding in a way to get money so that you can buy that extra sharp rifle that you've been wanting to get because it does more damage than the bent rifle that you own right now. I get that part of it, but that's your choice. That's your story. Maybe you want the bent rifle because that adds to your mystique. Maybe you want the armor that's only got half the pieces. And that's another thing. When you buy armor, you can buy individual pieces of armor. I could go on and on and on for many, 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 many more hours, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to call the video right here and let you know that the possibilities are endless. I'm going to open up the chat just for a few minutes for any questions. If anybody has any questions in chat that you want to ask, feel free to ask it now because now's the time to ask. I'm only going to stay on for another few minutes. If not, no worries, don't worry about it. But if you do have some questions, go ahead and pop them in the chat for me. I'll be glad to answer. To the best of my ability. Remember, I don't work there, so... But I pretty much have been around since the inception. Center Mass. Isn't Center Mass on Terra? Center Mass is on Terra. That's the first time I've seen that logo right there. And I thought I knew everything. I'd be afraid to just hang out next to a burning vehicle, you know. It might just explode or something. Let's jump down in there and see what happens. I feel like they made a mistake when they made this little railing, right? And it's not connected. I don't see why they don't just connect it. But instead, they put up this little safety barrier here so that you don't walk out off this thing, right? And I'm like, it just seems silly that they would do that. Now I can stand on the seat, but I can't jump over the rail. Dang, they want me to kill myself. Even though I've been out there wandering around before. Long time ago. You'd have to go back a couple of years actually and probably see some of those videos. All right, well, we're not getting any questions, so I'm just going to go ahead and log out right here, and I appreciate all of you. And I hope this video helps some people that were curious about what Star Citizen, what you can expect in Star Citizen, what Star Citizen is all about. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in my... Hey, Crazy Canuck. How you doing, man? Yeah. Back in the day, that's what we used to do. We used to like walk backwards through the walls and you could clip through them and stuff. A lot of the clipping has been fixed, though. A lot of it has been fixed. We used to clip through these walls here, too. But, yeah, it won't let us do it anymore. Not that I'm trying to do it, because I'm not. Alright, cool. I'm glad it does. Well, thanks for coming out and checking out this video, and that's the end. You guys have a great night.